key for our show, Lyrical Wisdom. Every week we will dive into the lyrics of songs and uncover hidden messages that we hope will leave you feeling inspired and enlightened. We know that our ideas may not always line up with yours, so this show will be an open discussion. Email us with ideas for songs at lyricalwisdomshow@gmail.com. That's lyricalwisdomshow@gmail.com. Let's share some wisdom together.
The House of Light brings clarity to your soul, offering a safe space for healing through our compassionate practitioners, services, classes, and wisdom, plus the tools to support you in our retail space.
To protect his home and family from disaster, Steve used courage, wisdom, and his camera phone.
That should do it.
Way to go, Steve! By simply taking digital pictures of his family's important documents, Steve can always have them stored safely online, no matter when disaster strikes. Learn other simple ways to protect your home and family before a natural disaster at ready.gov. That's ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council.
Good morning. Welcome to WQEE 99.1. I'm Donna.
And I am Bruce.
And this is Lyrical Wisdom. Good morning, Bruce.
Good morning, Donna.
How are you this morning?
I am absolutely fabulous this morning. How are you?
So am I. Even though it's raining outside, it's supposed to rain for like the next 3 days, I think.
Yes.
There's something in the air.
There is something in the air, and I do feel it, and I do feel like it is, I feel like it's something better. It's weird how it cuts through this dreariness.
Yes, yes,
it kind of breaks through it somehow, and I just feel it. I feel it all the way through my heart. Hearing Tanisha's voice in the last radio show that was just before us, that helped me feel that too as well.
Yes, I was so happy to hear Tanisha. She's been through a lot this year.
Yes.
And she's coming back stronger than ever.
Oh,
it's
boy,
so amazing to see her beauty and her strength shining through like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Just like this good energy today.
Yeah. Well, today is December 1st.
Wow.
Can you believe that?
I feel like we need some sort of like musical interlude or background on that one. It's like dun 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 dun. December 1st. Yeah, Beethoven. Yes.
We're done. The year is over.
This
is the last month in 2023. We're gonna, don't blink, because 2024 is gonna be here.
I feel like 2023 did go by in a blink.
Oh, it did. It did.
It was like I was a time traveler.
Yeah. No. It's really crazy, but welcome everyone. Welcome. I am glad you're here. Here we are for another episode of Lyrical Wisdom. It is December 1st.
It is December 1st.
Yes, and we have a really cool song picked out, and we were kind of talking about it a little bit before, and I didn't realize that it's right on time.
It's
very synchronistic, because the artist singing evidently just made an appearance at the Super Bowl. Is that correct?
Cowboys football game last weekend.
Oh, the Cowboys football game. All right.
Dressed as a Dallas Cowboy cheerleader.
Oh, see, I didn't even know this. And
that's
yet,
amazing.
When I choose or look at these songs, it's quite fascinating how, I go with the flow. Spirit comes through, offers
an amazing
gifts,
amazing gift.
Beautiful gifts when you're flowing.
This is what, I couldn't agree when you're flowing it. I couldn't agree more, because that is the funny thing is we both kind of felt that this morning, and then right as we came in, then Ryan so graciously told us the story about the Dallas Cowboy game. And
have you figured it out yet, folks? I'll give you a hint. She looks really good for her age.
Oh my gosh. And we also made sure that we used that pronoun, I guess, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, so we gave you a couple of clues.
It's a she.
Yeah.
I did want to mention something. Please remember, next week we have a special request from one of our listeners, Brian.
Yes.
Hope you're out there, because tune in next week. We're going to do your song.
Yes.
So send in your songs requesting to lyricalwisdomshow at gmail.com. That's
lyricalwisdomshow@gmail.com. Hooray! Yes, please do send us, and we look forward to that.
Yeah.
We wanted to make sure that we announced that this morning. We're not going to tell you what the song is necessarily today, but we look forward to that. We want to make sure that we let you know, and that's what we'd like to do. That's nice in the future, so you guys can know out there that it's coming.
Yes. We're doing your song next week.
It's coming.
All right. How about today's song? We have chosen to do Wildflowers by Dolly Parton.
This song is amazing. I was listening to it before I came in, and the choices that we had this morning were two amazing songs, honestly. It was whittled down to two that Donna had picked, or Allison actually had found, and amazing songs. And I really do believe that because this was the first one that I listened to before I came in this morning, because I listened to them both just because I wanted to. And that was what made me choose it, because if I listened to the other one first, that probably would have been my choice then. But I love this song. So
yay. And who doesn't love Dolly Parton?
Oh my gosh. But
right?
This is, to me, a musical and lyrical poem and journey. And it's beautiful. It's a beautiful song. And it has a sound to it that I think transcends a little bit of time, a little bit of space, and kind of the way we...
Which is what we're doing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly, especially the last year.
Transcending time.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Wildflowers by Dolly Parton. The hills were alive with wildflowers, and I was wild, even wilder than they, for at least I could run. They just died in the sun, and I refused to just wither in place. Just a wild mountain rose, needing freedom to grow. So I ran, fearing not where I'd go. When a flower grows wild, it can always survive. Wildflowers don't care where they grow. As the flowers I knew in the fields where I grew were content to be lost in the crowd. They were common and close. I had no room for growth, and I wanted so much to branch out. So I uprooted myself from my home ground and left, took my dreams and I took to the road. When a flower grows wild, it can always survive. Wildflowers don't care where they grow. I grew up fast and wild, and I never felt right in a garden so different from me. I just never belonged. I just longed to be gone, so the garden one day set me free. I hitched a ride with the wind, and since he was my friend, I just let him decide where we'd go. When a flower grows wild, it can always survive. Wildflowers don't care where they grow. Just a wild, rambling rose, seeking mysteries untold. No regret for the path that I chose. When a flower grows wild, it can always survive. Wildflowers don't care where they grow.
Wow, that was beautiful. It reminds me of seeing a helium balloon that's flying through the air that's lost its person.
Wow, interesting.
Because I think of the wildflower not caring where it grows, and this whole song sounds like, in a way, not to synopsis too quickly because that would be unfair, but really it just kind of makes me think of that when that balloon loses its person. It's kind of flying, and it's uprooted itself from its home ground and left, as she says in the song, and it kind of took my dreams and I took to the road. It's kind of like a statement, because I feel like, in a way, I don't know exactly what year Dolly Parton wrote this song, but I have to say,
I don't either.
There are a lot of songs about getting out there and following the dream, following the desire of getting out and seeing what else is out there in the world.
Yeah.
Some people are just happy with the, the home.
Mm-hmm.
They're just happy there in that space. And that's great. But then there are others, when they look out the window, they're not just looking out of the window, they're looking off in the distance at where they could possibly go. Not necessarily what they can see, but what's farther than what you can see.
Yeah.
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 And so with that, I yield. I'm sorry. I yield the floor to Donna. I'd like to go back to the top. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, I think that's beautiful. It's interesting. We can take these lyrics in so many directions.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we are wildflowers too, right? So the hills were alive with wildflowers, and I was wild, even wilder than they. Meaning?
Ryan just saved me. He found out the year that it was written. It was written in 1987. And
Wow,
I remember that year.
Really?
I do actually. But I do feel like it was, that was a time when, this kind of a song, that was really, I think, a little bit of an anthem for certain people in our world, because there were a lot of things that were happening at that time that were saying, people saying, hey, let's see what's out there. Let's go explore. And we aren't just these calm, serene children that are just going to stay in place and not spill their Kool-Aid. We're going to go and play and have fun, maybe be a little wild and get messy. Does that kind of make sense? Because that's what I see. The hills were alive with wildflowers. Well, heck yeah. You look everywhere you see, and I get lucky enough to teach children, and there are kids, and I think of wildflowers like that could be like a child. And I was wild, even wilder than they. For at least I could run. They just died in the sun. And
That
I refused
lyric,
to
to
just
wither in place.
and to get out there and explore.
So what is it, Bruce, that, how come she makes such a distinction between she and the flowers. The flowers just died in the sun. So what is it that makes her so different than those wildflowers? For at least I could run.
Oh, yes.
So for me, I refuse to just wither in place. So there are wildflowers, but yet they're still rooted in the ground.
I think in a way, I feel like that could be a statement or a comment on her choice of her own creation. I choose to have legs. I can run. These are going to be here, rooted in the ground. And it is their fate. It is their life to die in the sun and wither in place. That isn't necessarily saying something that isn't true. It's just using words that don't sound really nice.
Well, there's also an aspect. I'm looking at wildflowers in the aspect of being wild. When they are wild, they're at a place where they're not used to being, so they don't receive nourishment.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like the flower that starts growing from the crack in the sidewalk.
Oh, yeah.
Will it receive, proper nourishment from soil?
Because they don't care where they go.
It has to wait for the rain.
Right.
There's not someone there nurturing it, taking care of it. And I thought this was quite interesting, the fact that she does not want any nurturing whatsoever.
Oh my gosh, I just realized you mentioned that because it's woven throughout the entire song.
Yes.
And so that's amazing because, and it, so, yes, the flowers, they choose maybe, if we can look at it that we are our own creator, or we are co-creators in this whole experience, they do die in the sun. They do live in that place, and they wither and die just in that place. And at least she can run. But just a wild mountain rose, needing freedom to grow, so I ran, fearing not where I'd go. And I think that's exactly what we're commenting on, is when a flower grows wild, it can always survive. Wildflowers don't care where they grow, just like you're saying. It's simply, no, this is, if you take it as the metaphor, the young lady saying, I am going to run free and wheels on fire, rolling down the road, and because just notify my next of kin, because these wheels are, this is going to explode. I think that's a song. And so I really feel like, that's kind of the comment here. It's like, you know what, I'm going for it. I'm getting out there and going.
Right.
And I am not going to fear where I'm going to land, because I know that I'm not going to need anything when I get there, because I got myself, and I am able to plant myself and grow no matter what happens.
I know how to nourish myself.
Yes. Oh gosh. And thank you.
Yeah. And,
beautiful
which is quite fascinating, because it seems like that's where a lot of people I know in my life are right now. We're looking at that self-care.
Yes.
How to take care of ourselves.
Yes. Yeah.
How to look and really discern, is this good for me?
Yeah.
In other words, am I going to be in the garden where everybody's getting, and it's in the song here, Lost in the Crowd, it's like, to me, the wildflower, it just dies in the sun, but what is it? It's glorious while it's there. It has its beauty.
It does.
No matter what.
It does. Exactly. Oh my gosh, it has its beauty no matter what. Oh my gosh, Donna, that's so beautiful. Because then the exact next lyrics are, and the flowers I knew in the fields where I grew were content to be lost in the crowd. They were common and close. I had no room for growth, and I wanted so much to branch out. Exactly what you're saying. Like, oh my gosh.
Did I want to be with the crowd and
no,
think think what everybody else is thinking,
Absolutely,
believe what everyone else is believing? Did I want to just say it, Donna? Okay, sheep.
No, absolutely.
How people talk about how are you one of the sheep? In other words, are you just following the herd?
Right.
Or are you going to choose to step out and be you?
Exactly.
No matter what.
Yeah, and I like that. There was an Adam Sandler movie from the past where he's taking care of a little boy, and the little boy wakes up and decides he wants to wear his underwear on the outside of his pants. And, looking at Superman's costume or uniform, you could say, well, here's this example. But at the same time, I just have to admit, in the movie, he just kind of says, okay, that's how you want to go to school? That's how you're going to go to school today. And it was not necessarily what we all choose for the right way necessarily maybe to bring our kids up. But I just have to admit, it has that freedom.
Yes.
That freedom to be exploring and to be free to create and to maybe be a little ridiculous too.
Yeah.
And that's what I love that, because then, it is I feel like a desire in a lot of people, and at different times there's much more fervor in that desire and much more energy in the population of people that feel that. Yeah. And that's where I feel like this song actually at that time had that feeling too within certain demographics, if I could say. Mm-hmm. Because then it says, so I uprooted myself from my home ground and left, took my dreams and I took to the road.
When a flower grows wild, it can always survive. Wildflowers don't care where they grow. Yeah.
And then
I love the fact that she said she uprooted herself.
Yes.
Because she is acknowledging her roots, her family, where she came from, and understanding that it is still a part of her. Her roots.
Yes.
But you can uproot.
Yes.
And
grow. And actually the other side of that is too that when you pull something, sometimes a root might stay there. Mm-hmm. You get a majority of what you have to take, but maybe something doesn't come with you. Maybe it's difficult to pull yourself out, because sometimes plants aren't easy to pull out. It's just sometimes that's not the easiest move to make. And so that is such a funny way that it really is perfect. And then I grew up fast and wild, and I never felt right in a garden so different from me. I love that, because then I just never belonged. I just longed to be gone. So the garden one day set me free. Once again, I grew up quickly, moving to somewhere else where it didn't feel right to be. And then when I felt like I didn't belong and I knew I had to be gone, that garden set me free. Let her go.
That is quite fascinating to really, really think about that. Because there's so many people. I hear a lot of people talking about how they just feel like they don't belong. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because in the society beliefs or the consciousness belief, there are things that don't resonate with sometimes, and how many times do you ignore that and just keep going with the crowd because you're afraid to uproot yourself or how do you get to that point that she has made it to where I grew up fast and wild? In other words, the whole time I see her, a lot of people label it as the black sheep of the family.
Right. Yeah.
Where you buck the system the whole time.
Seems like the rebel.
Right. And that type of energy, I think, can be very good for you, because then it will lead you to that place where you can, you know what, I don't belong here.
Right.
I don't think like these people.
Exactly.
And you're free. You can feel the freedom to uproot yourself.
Exactly. Well, and also to, as a popular phrase in our past, present, or even future, I don't know, but to go to that other garden and be the grenade in the situation where you create the chaos, thinking you are the one that is the active and action of change.
Yeah.
And then you get into it and you're like, I was the grenade, and now I've exploded things into chaos, and I don't know how things are going to turn out. And it may get better for them, but you know what? I got to take off and run, because I cannot be around for this. And the thing is that process doesn't sound beautiful, but it is, because we all have to go through certain periods where we think we are the action of change, where we are going and doing and being. And then as we create that change, suddenly there's chaos, because chaos creates change. So then that's an experiment that we had to have. We had to have that moment of finding out how that was all going to turn out, because we didn't know before. and it is so frustratingly beautiful, but...
So you know what? Mankind started off that way, Bruce. Didn't we? I mean, we all were in a garden.
It is so true, yeah.
We were in a garden.
Yes,
the Garden of Eden.
The Garden of Eden.
And we had a thought. We
did,
wanted to discover what the whole world was like.
Yeah.
And we left,
Yeah. We took our chances.
The garden set us free. See, that's very, very powerful.
It is powerful.
Because it wasn't, the fact that she left.
Right.
The garden set her free.
And in a way, if
what is the garden?
It all depends on how you determine what the story of Adam and Eve is saying. But that could have been saying the same.
Yes.
Because, in that way. And I love this next paragraph.
Oh, me too.
You go ahead.
I hitched a ride with the wind. And since he was my friend, I just let him decide where we'd go. And then, when a wildflower grows wild, it can always survive. I love that because for me, it's so true. And in that moment, who's to say that she wasn't just a seed?
Exactly.
Because that, that's so easy to relate to.
Yeah.
Because that's what we do in creating.
Right.
It's a seed that we plant.
We plant.
We think about it, and that's what it grows.
Exactly. And
that's our garden.
And that is, and we are our own garden. And it's funny because that's how we try to, it's so easy to fall into the trap of trying to see what's going to happen before it happens.
Yeah.
And being the wildflower and being able to hitch a ride with the wind and allow the wind to be your friend, and let them decide where you're going to go.
Decide.
Yeah.
Well, because, Bruce, for me, I see the wind as spirit.
Yes, I do too. Yes, it is spirited. I believe that very strongly. And sorry to jump on you. But
Yeah. So in other words, she allows spirit.
Yes.
To just
take her.
Mm-hmm. And of course,
let's
always your friend.
Yes.
Right there with you, a part of you all the time. You just have to acknowledge it.
Yes. And let us just say, for just out of respect, you could say spirit, you could say God. You could say any, you inject the word there.
And you could say she was my friend.
Exactly.
It was my friend.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Because this last paragraph, you go ahead.
Just a rambling rose, seeking mysteries untold. No regret for the path that I chose. When a flower grows wild, it can always survive. Wildflowers don't care where they grow.
That is amazing. Just a wild, rambling rose, seeking mysteries untold. No regret for the path that I chose.
And that's the key, Bruce, because so many of us, I believe, get in that place of,
analyzing
coulda, woulda, shoulda. Why didn't I do this? Why didn't I do that? And, why am I in this place again? And it's like, just
let it go.
Be no regrets.
Yes.
For the path you chose, because we do create our reality.
We do, yes. And that's, and that goes back to the very first thing that we were talking about in the beginning of it. And I do believe that. And that's so funny because this has a real synchronicity. I just realized this with somebody that I love, my brother-in-law. I just realized that my brother-in-law Jake is actually, he's the wildflower. He's thinking about moving and changing and doing something like this. And I think that's this is so synchronous in a way for the conversation we just had. I can't believe that. But it is.
Thank you for that, Bruce. I can feel it in my heart.
It just occurred to me.
That's awesome.
And but that's the thing is I feel like that's an incredible comment on that because, that's some people might just call this one word. I guess it could be courage.
And what I would like to add is the question I asked was, what's the garden?
It's us.
For me, it's the mind.
It's the mind.
You know how we talk about we have to weed our garden all the time?
Yes.
It's your thoughts. It's your creative process that coexists with the Creator, with God, with Spirit, with whatever you wish to call it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Donna, that was beautiful. Thank you very much.
So be a wildflower.
Be a wildflower. Be the wildflower. Yes, sorry.
Find your sovereignty.
Yes.
Yes.
Find your power.
Yes.
Oh, beautiful.
Yes. Wildflowers by Dolly Parton.
Gosh.
Thank you guys.
Yes, thank
so
you.
Much.
Send us your requests at lyricalwisdomshow@gmail.com. That's lyricalwisdomshow@gmail.com.
And thank you so much for listening to the Lyrical Wisdom Show here at WQEE 99.1 FM. See you next week.
Bye-bye.
I grew up fast and wide.